son-in-law is here.
Good.
Got an American flag.
No, we don't.
Which way is east?
This way.
That? Oh, Lake Michigan? Lake Michigan. Okay, good evening everyone. I'd like to call to order this regular meeting of the Naperville Park District Board of Commissioners. It is Thursday, April 9th, 2020 at 7:05 p.m. Bridget, can you please take the roll?
President Janner,
Here.
Vice President King. Unmute.
Here.
Commissioner Carlson,
Here.
Commissioner Egan,
Present.
Commissioner McBroom,
Here.
Commissioner Riley,
Here.
Commissioner Todd.
Here.
Thank you. First item on our agenda, 1.3, I'll entertain a motion from another commissioner to allow remote participation for per section 7, temporary amendment of the Open Meetings Act.
Anyone?
So moved.
Move to allow approval for remote attendance.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Riley, second by Commissioner Todd. Any discussion? Bridget, please take the roll.
Commissioner Riley,
Yes.
Commissioner Todd,
Yes.
Commissioner Carlson,
Yes.
Commissioner Egan, Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner McBroom,
Yes.
President Janner.
Yes. Next item on our agenda is matters from the public. Bridget, does anyone sign up to speak, or did anybody send in anything in advance?
I have one item.
Okay, can you please read the item that was sent in advance?
Just a moment, let me make sure we got one in. Okay. Sent dated Wednesday, April 8th, 2020 at 4:36 p.m. from Mike Yackley, email titled Virtual Board Whitewash Meeting on How to Raise the Park District Budget. I'm sure these comments and questions for the virtual board meeting will be trashed by your PR department and assistants, but here goes anyway. Number one, how does the Park District consider themselves essential workers? Your employees are delivering and spreading mulch, going to Menards for non-essentials, raking gravel in the garden plot parking area, and hiring more Barney Fife Park police to keep family and friends employed. Residents, for the most part, do know what to do. You do not need employees emptying trash. If people pack it in, they can pack it out like most state or national parks, or volunteers can clean it up. Keep your employees home. Number two, maybe your PR department could stay busy by enlisting people near park areas to mow the grass until this COVID-19 is under control. We do not need your employees in our neighborhood or on the streets, or maybe Samira Luthman could hire some more goats from Wisconsin farms as she did in the 09-10 recession to eradicate weeds at Knock Knolls when people were looking for work. Or maybe she could also talk about the other 5 to 6 blood drives going on along with the Park District, but is really all about publicity and awards for the Park District employees and padding their salaries before retirement. Number three, can you explain why Marie Todd was allowed to use on-duty employees to solicit signature for her nominating petition while they were working at Naperville Golf Course? They said she is a great supporter of the golf program. What golfer isn't? I can't imagine what she has to gain. Well, maybe free golf. Didn't George Ryan go to jail for this kind of stuff? Like I said, these are not necessarily positive comments, so they probably will not be selected, but it does take less than 3 minutes to present. And that is the only comment that we received.
Thank you. Next, we'll move on to updates and reports. First item is item 3.1, the Riverwalk Commission. Commissioner Carlson, anything to report?
No meeting was held.
Thank you. Next is the Parks Foundation. Vice President King, anything to report?
No meeting was held.
Thank you. Finance Committee, Commissioner Carlson, anything?
No.
Thank you. Legislative Committee, Commissioner McBroom?
No report.
Thank you. As for the board president report, just wanted to give a brief update on what the Park District is doing to specifically to respond to COVID-19. Obviously, it goes without saying that these are unprecedented times for all of us, not only in our country, but also within the Naperville Park District. However, I would like to ensure any residents that might be watching that the Park District continues to keep the community's health and wellness in mind and fully understands the importance of continuing to provide opportunities to keep people of all ages and abilities engaged. I want to take this opportunity to briefly address a few aspects related to our current circumstances and COVID-19. Just a couple weeks ago, the Park District launched Naper Parks to You, a webpage that provides a wide variety of activities from arts and crafts and science experiments to backyard games and virtual trips and much more. We continue to create and curate new activities, and we're adding these to the webpage on a daily basis. So please check back regularly at napervilleparks.org/naperparkstoyou. For those of you dealing with kids at home and homeschooling and that type of thing, there's really some creative and good ideas to check out here. Additionally, I'm pleased to report that the Park District has introduced a new esports initiative and will be taking registration beginning tomorrow for an all-ages Rocket League competition in partnership with GG Leagues. The spring season, which will run for 6 weeks, is free to all participants, and registration will be taken through April 18th. Medals will be awarded to the top finishers in each contest, and to learn more about the Park District's esports initiative and to register, please visit napervilleparks.org/esports. Lastly, I would like to address one of the main challenges the Park District has faced since the governor issued the stay-at-home order several weeks ago. This pertains to the many people who are not using our parks responsibly and not practicing social distancing out there in the parks. The Park District obviously understands the importance of providing parks and open space as places for our residents to enjoy both passive and active recreation. However, in this critical time, not just for our community or our state, but for our country and the entire world, we must all do our part to keep this virus from spreading. And one way we see this being accomplished is by limiting the use of our parks. So we are not closing down the parks. They can still be used by individuals and family members residing in the same household to enjoy fresh air, a walk, or even the beautiful spring weather that showed up this week. What our parks cannot be used for at the present time are group games, team practices, exercise classes, or events. Our staff has tried to drive home this point by closing parking lots, locking sport courts and fields when possible, and removing basketball rims and other amenities that encourage group play. Our park police has also been patrolling our parks to ensure that people understand the importance of continuing to practice social distancing. I know these times are very challenging. Spring is here and the end of the school year is approaching and everyone needs a break. However, it's really important, folks, now more than ever, that we come together as a community to support the broader initiative to flatten the curve and move us past this critical point with COVID-19. So we thank you in advance, anyone that might be watching, for your continued cooperation. So with that being said, Executive Director McGurry, any report?
No report.
Okay, no report, so then we'll move on to our monthly treasurer's report. At this time, I'll entertain a motion from another commissioner to approve the February 2020 treasurer's report.
Motion to approve the February 2020 Treasurer's Report.
Second.
Motion by President Riley, second. I heard Commissioner Egan first. Any discussion? Any discussion? Okay, Bridget, please take the roll.
Commissioner Riley?
Yes.
Commissioner Egan? Commissioner Carlson?
Yes.
Commissioner King?
Yes.
Commissioner McBroom?
Yes.
Commissioner Todd?
Yes.
President Janner?
Yes. Next on our agenda, item 5 is the consent agenda. Bridget, can you please read the items that are on the consent agenda for consideration tonight?
Item 5.1, approve March 2020 disbursements in the amount of $934,663.57. 5.2, approve March 2020 disbursements made through the FinTech electronic payment system in the amount of $482.50. 5.3, approve March 2020 custom refunds in the amount of $13,862.25. 5.4, approve ordinance 979, adopting remote attendance policies and temporary public comment rules for the Naperville Park District. 5.5, approve February 27, 2020 regular meeting minutes. 5.6, approve March 12, 2020 regular meeting minutes. 5.7, approve March 12, 2020 executive session closed meeting minutes. And 5.8, approve March 26, 2020 special meeting minutes. 5.9, approve Resolution 20-02 to name the new plaza at Frontier Sports Complex as 95th Street Community Plaza. 5.10, approve Resolution 2003 naming Field 5 at Knock Park as Memorial Field. 5.11, award the contract for the Brush Hill Park Trail Development Project to Integral Construction, Inc. in the amount of $59,500. 5.12, award the contract for the DuPage River Sports Complex Inline Skate Rink Renovation Project to Integral Construction, Inc. in the amount of $176,946. 5.13, award the contract for Nike Sports Complex Tennis and Basketball Courts Crack Repair and Color Coding Improvements Project to 10S Court Solutions in the amount of $64,985. 5.14, authorize the executive director to issue a purchase order to Forever Lawn Southwest LLC in the amount of $68,420 for the supply of safety surfacing to be installed in the challenge course and fitness area at Wolf's Crossing Community Park, procured through the district's membership in the HGAC by Purchasing Network. 5.15, award the contract for 2020 bus transportation services for camp programs to First Student in the amount of $36,808. 5.16, approve the purchase and installation of strike guard lightning detection systems at 95th Street Community Plaza, Commissioners Park, and Wolf's Crossing Community Park in an amount not to exceed $84,000. And 5.17, approve the purchase of one 2020 John Deere 5055E tractor with front end loader and backhoe from AHW LLC for $50,362.03.
Thank you. Are there any items to be removed from the consent agenda?
I have a couple items, just to challenge Commissioner King.
Okay, go ahead.
That'll be good, because I don't have a printout.
You got a pencil? Ready? 5.1, 5.8, 5.17, 5.15, 5.2, 5.10.
Thank you. Any other items?
I've got 0.
I got 2 0.
5.10,
5.10.
5.2, 5.15, 5.17, 5.8, and 5.1.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Any others? Okay, hearing none, we'll entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda items.
Yeah, for clarification, is the number of items on there that goes to what?
517.
517, so last one.
Bridget, do you have, you want to read them
Yeah.
back?
Okay.
Okay.
Move to approve the consent agenda items 5.3 through 5.7, 5.9, 5.11 through 5.14, and 5.16.
Thank you.
Second.
Impressive.
Wow.
That's a second by Commissioner Todd. Any discussion on those items?
This is the,
Okay, Bridget, please take the roll.
Vice President King,
Yes.
Commissioner Todd,
Yes.
Commissioner Carlson, Commissioner Egan,
Yes.
Commissioner McBroom,
Yes.
Commissioner Riley,
Yes.
President Janner.
Yes. Next, we'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second?
Who is it?
Sure.
King? Is it King?
We'll entertain a motion to approve those same consent agenda items.
King.
I see a motion by Commissioner Todd. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner King. This is a voice vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, now we'll move forward to unfinished business and pick up the items that were pulled from the consent agenda. So I'll entertain a motion to approve consent agenda item 5.1.
Second.
Motion to approve agenda item 5.1 to approve the March 2020 disbursements in the amount of $934,663.57.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by, motion by Commissioner Riley, second by Commissioner Todd. Any discussion? Commissioner Egan?
I'll be voting no. As we see with this pandemic, the compounding of 4% raises has ballooned the payroll line. So, again, we live with we lie in the bed that we make, but I will not be supporting that.
Any other discussion?
President Janner,
Yes, Commissioner Riley.
are there any wage increases in this set of disbursements?
I see Director Stan is shaking her head no.
And once again, I just point out to Commissioner Egan, this is a waste of our time. Thank you.
I second your motion, Mike, to bring all wages to the board in a detailed memo to be approved on a monthly basis, if that's what you prefer.
I didn't know this was a discussion between commissioners.
Any other discussion? Bridget, please take the roll.
Commissioner Riley,
Unmute mic.
oh, lost me. Okay. Oh, Commissioner Riley,
Unmute mic.
Yes.
Commissioner Todd,
Yes.
Commissioner Carlson,
Yes.
Commissioner Egan,
No.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner McBroom,
Yes.
President Janner.
Yes. Next, we'll entertain a motion to approve item 5.2.
Move to approve.
So moved.
Got it.
Okay.
Motion from Commissioner Todd. Who was the second there?
I think Mike King.
Commissioner King on a second, okay. Any discussion? Commissioner Egan?
5.2 is the purchase of alcohol inventory. Alcohol does not support our mission of health and wellness. I'll be voting no, the inventory should be returned.
Any other discussion? Bridget, please take the roll.
Commissioner Todd,
Yes.
Vice President King,
Yes.
Commissioner Carlson,
Yes.
Commissioner Egan,
No.
Commissioner McBroom,
Yes.
Commissioner Riley,
Yes.
President Janner.
Yes.
That's enough. Is that everyone?
Okay, next we'll entertain a motion to approve item 5.8.
Move to approve consent agenda item 5.8.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner King, or Vice President King, second by Commissioner Riley. Any discussion? Commissioner Egan?
Yeah, I just wanted my comments to be expanded to be totally inclusive, that I likened the not putting out the phone number, and I certainly understand the short attendance, but I liken that to the committee meetings that are held during the day that prevent public attendance. I'd like that noted in the minutes, and hopefully committee meetings are held with meetings like this where people can zoom in if necessary.
Any other discussion? Bridget, please take the roll.
Commissioner Riley?
Yes.
Commissioner Todd?
Yes.
Commissioner Carlson?
Yes.
Commissioner Egan?
Aye.
Vice President King?
Yes.
Commissioner McBroom?
Yes.
President Janner?
Yes. Next, we'll entertain a motion to approve item 5.10.
Move to approve consent agenda item 5.10.
Second.
Second.
Motion, Vice President King, second, Commissioner Riley. Any discussion, Commissioner Egan?
Love this. It's a brilliant idea. I didn't get to say that in the previous meeting, so I just wanted to share that. Thank you, Ray Penny, for doing this.
Any other discussion? Okay, Bridget, please take the roll.
Commissioner Riley?
Yes.
Commissioner Todd?
Yes.
Commissioner Carlson?
Yes.
Commissioner Egan?
Aye.
Vice President King?
Yes.
Commissioner McBroom?
Yes.
President Janner?
Yes. Next, we'll entertain a motion to approve item 5.15.
Move to approve consent agenda item 5.15.
Second.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner King, second by Commissioner Riley. Any discussion, Commissioner Egan?
Yeah, it's just a question. So in this contract, if we end up having to cancel programs further out into August, will we be forced to pay on this contract, or since no service would be delivered, we're not going to have to pay? That's truly variable costs.
Director Wilson?
So Commissioner Egan, the way that this is structured is we pay per trip. So we only pay for the trips that are actually taken. So if something were to occur with the summer camps where we did not need the bus services or a limited number of bus services, we would only pay for the trips taken.
Excellent, thank you. Any other discussion? Bridget, please take the roll.
Commissioner Riley?
Yes.
Commissioner Todd?
Yes.
Commissioner Carlson?
Yes.
Commissioner Egan?
Aye.
Vice President King?
Yes.
Commissioner McBroom?
Yes.
President Janner?
Yes. Next, we'll entertain a motion to approve item 5.17.
Move to approve consent agenda item 5.17.
Second.
Motion Vice President King, second Commissioner Todd. Any discussion, Commissioner Egan?
Yeah, so, alluding to some of our comments, or my comments that we'll probably have in the new business section with budgeting, this is a expenditure when we're freaking out about cash and when this thing will end, that we'd be much wiser to spend 15 grand and kick the can down the road versus dropping $50,000 on a new piece of equipment. This is an instance where we could be acting like a business, like we did when we passed on the credit card fees to our customers or clients, and saying, you know what, we're not sure about cash flow. Repair the tractor. We understand that it's old, but spending $15,000 is better than spending $50,000. So this should have been pulled from the agenda immediately as part of the staff's exercise last week with the documents that we were provided. So a lot of people wouldn't know.
Any other discussion?
President Janner?
Yes, Commissioner Riley.
If this is an item that we need to have, putting $15,000 into it to get us another 6 months and then spending $50,000 or perhaps more to buy the piece of equipment that we need, seems to me to be a waste of $15,000, not a false economy as was described.
Rich?
Any other discussion, Commissioner Egan?
I'd rather spend $45,000 in employing people and putting money in their pockets than on a piece of equipment at this point with what's going on in the world. All due respect.
Commissioner Todd?
Our people need to have the appropriate equipment to do their jobs. We're gonna have less people with turning back, staff, we need to make sure that they have functional equipment. I think that, we need to move forward with this.
Any other discussion?
Just a question.
Go ahead.
If we don't have somebody employed, do we need the tractor? It doesn't run itself. That was rhetorical. Thank you.
Bridget, please take the roll.
Commissioner Riley?
Yes.
Commissioner Todd?
Yes.
Commissioner Carlson? Commissioner Egan?
No?
Commissioner King?
Yes.
Commissioner McBroom?
No.
President Janner?
Yes. Okay, next we'll move on to new business. Item 7.1 under new business is our budget discussion. As I think everybody knows, in the wake of COVID-19 and the expectation of, well, just to take a step back, everyone understands that the largest source of revenue for the Park District is tax dollars, and the second largest source of revenue for the Park District is program fees. And with the expectation for a drastic reduction in program fees for obvious reasons over the next weeks, months, uncertain question mark amount of time, staff has had to take a hard look at our budgets and begin to prepare for the possibility of a long-term, again, question mark as to what long-term exactly is, how long-term is defined, but a possible long-term loss of program fees, which again is our second largest revenue source. So as part of that exercise, again, staff went through every area of the budget to identify areas where we could possibly save. And I did have a conversation with Director Stanish with regard specifically to the board budget as it applies to all of us. And at that time, she had asked me what we might be able to do with regard to possible cuts to the board budget. I didn't feel comfortable answering that unilaterally, so I sent out a note to all the commissioners to get their feedback. And the purpose of the discussion here tonight is to come to consensus as to how we'd like to handle the board budget. Just in terms of a reminder, I'm reading the text message that was sent out to each commissioner. The first item on the board budget is with regard to training and conferences. The budget is currently $14,125. To date, $531 of that has been spent, leaving a balance in the budget of $13,600. The second item in the board budget is community relations. This budget is $7,375. To date, $434 has been spent, leaving a balance of $6,941. The third item is legal fees, a budgeted amount of $2,500. And the fourth item is supplies, a budgeted amount of $2,800. And since I believe all commissioners have had a chance to review this and kick it around, any discussion on how we should handle the board budget for the remainder of 2020?
Rich?
Commissioner Egan?
I think we should eliminate the whole thing, save those pieces that allocate some salaries, for example, Bridget to us, for her efforts. That budget certainly needs to remain, but anything else, I think needs to be eliminated for this year, and I would go so far as permanently deleted from the budget. From my standpoint, I have yet to see a value add from the junkets back to the Park District from our level. I support certainly staff attending those things. They're in it day to day. But the people aren't getting the value add from that budget. They want a pool, they want trails, they want other things. We don't need a budget for those types of items. So I support eliminating it certainly for this year, and I would go one step further in eliminating it permanently.
Thank you.
President Jake?
Yes, Commissioner Riley?
I would disagree with the characterization of the training and conferences as junkets. That makes it sound like everybody goes to Vegas and just, drinks for 4 days. That's not the case, and if Commissioner Regan had been at the conferences, he'd understand that there is actual learning and training that goes on that is worthwhile for the commissioners. I would also support reducing that down to a very low level for this year, but not suspending it entirely. As far as the community relations budget is concerned, we spent very little so far this year, but after this curve flattens on COVID-19, I think it might be in our best interest as commissioners to get out there as ambassadors for the Park District and let people know how we're starting back up again and what we're off.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Yeah, I agree with Commissioner Riley. I think, if not eliminate, pare it down drastically, obviously, for this year, revisit next year and see where we're at.
I would agree with that as well too. The conferences and trainings are very important to, I feel, to the board members to understand what the staff is going through, understand what the amenities could be out there for the public and our community, understand the process better as commissioners. So I do find conferences and trainings very educational, but I'd be fine with, limiting that for this year's budget and then revisit it next year.
Thank you. Commissioner Todd?
I think we should reduce the training budget, but I don't think we should eliminate it. Commissioner Regan would have absolutely no idea of the learning that would go on since he's never attended any of the conferences. But I would certainly support, especially for our newer members of the board, that they should attend it because there's an awful lot of information and understanding of the workings of the Park District and the trends for a Park District. So I think it's possible for us to reduce it, but allow for training. And I tend to agree with Commissioner Riley about the community. We need to get out into the community, and once this is over, and also advocate, the new kinds of programs that we're putting forth.
I'd say that what came out of the first one I went to in New Orleans was something that's become a popular program, and that's the movies in the park. Came straight out of that conference where we met them, and that's where it originated. So I think people have really liked that program, and that wouldn't have happened without us going there.
Yeah, for my part, obviously us commissioners are responsible for managing a budget of many, many millions of dollars for the taxpayers and the residents. And to my knowledge, none of the commissioners has a formal degree in the field of parks and recreation or very much formal professional training. So to ask us to do that important job on behalf of the residents without the opportunity for training doesn't seem right. With that being said, I think this current year, 2020, is a time of extreme sacrifice across the board. And so for that reason, I would support zeroing that training and conferences budget out for the rest of this year. Could not in good conscience see us have to lay people off and then at the same time have commissioners go to conferences. So that would be my suggestion with regard to that budget, but obviously we've got a lot of different opinions. So I'd like to take this maybe one chunk at a time just to make it a little bit easier here. So the first item is the training and conferences item. We've got some commissioners that are suggesting zeroing out. We've got some commissioners suggesting leaving a little bit in there. Is maybe leaving, oops.
See? We're still on.
President Jenner, I'd move that we zero out the balance of the budget for training and conferences for this year and not make any decision beyond this year.
Okay, I'd be with you there. So there's two of us. Anybody else on that page?
Rich,
Yes.
I would be on that page.
There's three of us,
I would, yeah,
Rich.
Commissioner
Okay,
Egan.
attention, Rich.
Yeah, go ahead.
Everyone wants to.
Go ahead, Bill.
Thank you. So I'm certainly in favor of zeroing it out. To the comments earlier, I would encourage Commissioner Todd and Commissioner Riley to look back to 2013, 2014 on those agendas where we're specifically tracked on the things that we expensed. You voted affirmative of the expense for me attending. I attended the trainings. The most exciting thing that I got out of it was the Ansel Blank dinner. I appreciate your comments, Commissioner Carlson, but I would say that those are the reasons that we send staff to these things. If we're bringing back things to the conference that staff isn't, I have some other questions. All due respect, again, I'm for this year, but again, let's zero it out for the rest as well.
All right, so it looks like we've reached consensus about zeroing out the training and conferences budget for this year to be revisited. We can revisit the 2021 budget when we do that. The second item is community relations. What are we thinking here? I'm hearing that it is important to be out in the community a little bit. Do we knock that down 25% is sort of the consensus of what I'm hearing, or more than that, or what? Commissioner Egan?
Rich,
Commissioner Egan,
I have a question here.
I saw your hand first, go ahead.
yeah. Can you give me an example of what community outreach expenditure would be?
Sure, that would be, Bridget often sends us these invitations to, various, dinners and events, for example, hosted by some of our partners, like the Western DuPage Special Recreation, has an annual, dinner, various, luncheons, state of the city, I mean, various community events where, commissioners would go and represent the Park District.
Okay.
Commissioner, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I appreciate that one. I guess Dirk would be the one to correct me if I'm wrong here, but when we all ran for office, we were not promised an expense account or a salary. We should be out in the community doing our job. That's what we signed up for when we got out there and chased, I think it's twice as many signatures as the city councilman to serve the people. We don't need that budget this year nor going forward.
Any other comments?
President Janner,
Yes, go ahead, Mike.
I would recommend that we cut the budget in half for 2020. And I think, all the commissioners could be relied on to use it responsibly.
Commissioner Todd, did I see your,
That seems reasonable to me.
Vice President King?
I would say that's a reasonable request for a reduction in that budget. And then obviously we are stewards of that money. We will use it responsibly as we have in the past.
Okay, so I'm hearing,
I would just say, I would advocate 100% reduction on it. I understand that it's important to be out in the community and promoting the Park District, but I think there are some, the reality is, I mean, it sounds like these are dinners, these are lunches, these are fundraisers, and I'm not sure the optics of being in an environment where someone maybe can't go to these things because they don't have the money, and we still are kind of carrying on. I'd be in favor of complete reduction for this year.
It doesn't mean we have to use it, correct?
correct. In fact, just to be clear, in many years, we don't even get close to these budgeted amounts, and again, I see Director Stanish nodding her head in agreement. So we got a couple people that are saying zero it out, we got a couple people saying 50%, is a 25% reduction a fair compromise so we can move on here past this one?
I could support that.
25 or 75% reduction?
So it would be a 75% reduction, thank you, Commissioner Carlson, leaving 25% remaining.
My stance is, if I have a choice between putting money in the employee's pocket or going out to a dinner to promote the Park District, I say pay your own dinner, cut the budget.
President Jeter,
Yes, go ahead, Mike.
I'd support the 75% reduction.
Okay, I'd be with you there, so that's two of us. Marie?
I also agree,
All right, so that's three of us.
75.
That's fine, that'll be fine, it's fine.
I'm with 75%
All right, 4 or 5 of us, so we got consensus at a 75% reduction, leaving 25% of the remaining amount in the budget. I think the third item seems like a moot point with regard to legal fees, because my understanding is typically, historically, and Sue can correct me if I'm wrong, but the legal fees have mainly been funded through our administration budget, not the board budget. So this is pretty much a moot point to zero this out?
That's correct. We've kept that in as a placeholder, but in all the years I've been here, there has not been a board member that has directly worked through an attorney that it would be charged to that budget.
Okay, so we can zero that out, unless anybody feels strong about leaving it there. Okay, and the last item then is supplies. Bridget, can you advise, I mean, are there any critical supplies here? If we cut this to zero, are we gonna need anything, or
We're all stocked.
we're all stocked? So if you didn't hear Bridget saying we're all stocked for the year, so you'd be comfortable with us zeroing this out and not causing any disruption?
Not a problem.
Okay, anybody object to that?
Hey, Rick.
No.
Yeah, Commissioner, you can go ahead.
And this is a question, I don't know if it belongs in the supplies thing or in its own discussion, but we have a policy where, we give some discounts for those that take advantage of that, and free golf and I don't know, whatever else we get. Shouldn't that be tracked in the budget, or should we be talking about eliminating those for at least this year, if not permanent?
Are you referring to benefits, Commissioner benefits or anything like that?
Right, so there's a cost that we're not talking about, it's certainly not budgeted, but if I go play a round of golf, if I walk on and whatever the round of golf costs, I can walk on for free, because as a commissioner or a former commissioner, there's a cost that if I'm gonna go out and golf that day, I chose our golf course because it was free. So there's the natural cost that if I was going out to golf that day, I'd be paying a greens fee if I wasn't a commissioner. A class that my kids go to, or soccer, or pick your example. I'm saying that we should be paying either full rate for this year, if not going forward, and the years going forward, that should be represented in our budget so the taxpayers understand what resources that we are consuming and not paying for.
Yeah,
President Jeter,
before you get to you, Mike, I mean, I would say that the item of Commissioner benefits is not really on the agenda at all tonight, so if we want to add that to the agenda for the next meeting, I could certainly support that, but I'd really hate to see us, would that satisfy you, Commissioner Egan?
Yeah, let's get it to the next month to discuss.
All right, this will allow the commissioners to maybe review the policy, we'll get that circulated, the policy for any kind of benefits, and we can all take a look at it and discuss it more,
Put that in their packet.
with more information, and that,
President Jeter,
yes, go ahead,
point
Mike.
of order. Is there a second commissioner that supports reviewing this as an agenda item at the next meeting?
Rich just said he did.
I don't mind, I don't mind reviewing it. I don't mind reviewing it in light of the current circumstances, so. And Bridget's gonna place that policy in our board packets, everybody, so you'll see that and you'll have a couple weeks to review it, in advance of the next meeting. Any other, discussion on that? All right, so that will go to the next, meeting. We don't have any other new business tonight. So, a reminder that the next scheduled meeting, will be a virtual meeting, on April 23rd, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. It'll be, hosted from the administration boardroom, same as we are right now. And the remote, dial-in information will be put out there the same way that it was today.
Hey, Rich,
Yes.
can I back you up under the budget discussion? I didn't realize you were moving on.
Sure.
We received information from staff about some things that they're doing, which is awesome. But we certainly, at least I believe, we need to have a more formal discussion. I didn't see a cash flow that shows where our reserves are gonna come out, some I'll use the word random guesses because their guess is gonna be as good as anybody here, as well as mine, of when we get back to full, normal, or whatever the new normal is, and looking at those cash reserves and when we're gonna be bleeding them, and, you know, bringing in property taxes. Certainly, service revenues are only about half of our revenue, so, we need to make sure that we've got a clear pecking order of when we're gonna furlough, what we're gonna furlough, as far as departments, activities, and those types of things, to make sure that we have the cash to make it through, and thinking worst case scenario. You know, pick out your part of the state. What if we can't have any real activities until next year? So I think we need some real numbers and looking at the financial side of that thing and blowing it through the budget and how we're going to react. We're forced to react on a dime here. Nobody saw this as aggressive as it was going to be. I certainly put myself in that camp. But now it's here and we've got to deal with it, and let's think about worst case scenario. And make sure that we're looking at it through cash flows instead of we're cutting this and cutting that. That tells me what we're doing today. I don't see that flowing through towards the end of the year. So whether that's certainly the next meeting thing or next month thing, I appreciate that. But those are things that we need to be doing, or staff needs to be doing now, in my opinion.
Yeah, first, I'd be remiss not to thank Ray and staff for really doing a great job of digging into this, and the leadership team in a very timely manner, and showing decisive leadership in a time of crisis here. And so I appreciate all the effort that's already gone into that. I'll ask Director Stanish if you want to address that briefly, but I do think it's a decent idea to have this on the agenda for our second meeting of the month, where we can unpack this a little bit more thoroughly. But do you want to make some initial comments now?
Yes, so Commissioner Egan, you are correct. We, when we first got together, we did the cuts and where we are. We are in the process, in finance still, it's still in our shop, of developing cash flow models, where we're drawing down with what ifs, if we open the beach up, if, you know, mid-year, if we don't open the beach, looking at those major things, looking if we have a delay in property tax. So we have started a cash flow model, absolutely vital to what we're going to be doing here as we move forward. We are, we're in the piece where we're working through the operating piece, and now we're going to be inputting some capital for the larger projects that we have. We're working on a monthly drawdown schedule, a revised one, based on where we are right now. So Eric and his team, they're working on revised monthly capital estimates that then we can roll into this model and then be able to share with the board. And it's something we're going to be looking at probably on a weekly basis as we see things coming through on the payable side, to your point exactly, so we know where we are on a cash, you know, cash is king, where we are on a cash basis, and when we would start drawing down if for some reason property tax was delayed or not, and where we are with recreation fees. So the board will see a cash flow analysis.
Thank you. Any other discussion on that? Commissioner King, I saw you first.
Yeah, I just want to give a compliment to Ray, to staff, Eric, Brad, Sue. Everyone that you're doing is fantastic. I mean, we have reserves. We're in a great spot. I want to commend you on that. It's not just that it happens by chance. It happens by leadership and action that you guys have taken in previous years to get us to a point now we are financially stable. So I want to thank you for that. I also want to thank you for your leadership with this. What's going on right now. So I just want to commend you and your staff for what you're doing too.
Thank you. Commissioner Egan? Go ahead, Bill.
So, and to my question, it was answered, I think it was number 8, the last one on that Word document, but to be clear, what I would like to see, in addition to what you're describing, Sue, which I'm all for, is an order of what programs come back online, because you just can't flip the switch. I would assume, you know, if we need to talk to Omar about what the systems can handle, you can't be overwhelmed. And number 2, what order are we going to shut things down? So if we think we're going to run out of cash in September, in worst case scenario, and that's what it truly is, worst case scenario, we should start planning on what we're gonna shut down and in what order, to keep the heart alive, right? So, we need a 2 or 3 case scenario. Best case, here's everything is bright and shiny, here's what we think is really gonna happen, and here's what worst case scenario is. So channel your inner Dr. Fauci and, you know, cautious optimism, but I guarantee you, channeling the corporate world, which was what we used to throw these credit card fees on to our consumers, any corporate client has this already done. So we need to be moving through those and saying, worst case scenario, we're in 100% austerity and core staff is only remaining.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
I would assume that Sue probably has already done projections. If she hasn't, I'm sure she will.
Yeah, we have begun talking about the what-ifing and programs and spring programs. And I know Brad can speak to it, but we have a good start on that and different models of where we are. Again, and let me just say too, as Commissioner King had mentioned, we are fortunate that we have strong reserves.
And obviously, you know, as board members, the long-term strategic financial planning here is a key part of our responsibility as well. So I look forward to this discussion at our next meeting, and would encourage everybody to dig into the details so that we're prepared to have a thorough conversation here, shoulder to shoulder with staff at the next meeting on this topic. Any other?
One more thing?
Yeah, go ahead, Bobby.
Yeah. Just, you know, being on the finance committee for the last few years, I've been overwhelmed, you know, impressed with Sue's modeling and her attention to detail. And we're in good hands. And I think that her reputation around is exemplary. So I think, you know, we're in good hands is all I want to say. And we'll come out of it. And I think we'll move forward and figure it out.
Commissioner Todd? Unmute yourself, Marie. Hey, Marie, I'll hit your mute button there.
There's Bill.
Is it on our
Can
end?
you get her there, Omar?
See.
There we go.
I can't look brief.
There she is. She's on.
Did you hear me?
No, we didn't. Go ahead, please repeat. Yeah, you were on mute for a little while, Marie, so why don't you please repeat your comments?
Okay, just a point of order, my suggestion is, shouldn't this be something that should be sent to the finance committee to look at in detail before it comes before the full board? That's been our process all along, so why are we changing it now?
Bobby, does the finance committee intend to meet between now and the next board meeting?
I would assume that, yes. Sue, I mean, we haven't talked about it, but for sure.
We could, I just want to make sure we have enough time within a 2-week period
Point
to vet.
of order, we are in strange times and we don't have time for government bureaucracy, quite honestly. If, given the times the finance committee hasn't met already to go through these things, we don't have time to do the dance. Now, if they can meet between now and the next meeting, so be it. But these are things that, you know, it's been 2 weeks in, folks. We need to be moving on this.
Come join us, Bill.
Bill, do you have time
Bobby,
to?
you and I,
I work during the day, Bobby. You have a meeting at night where I can attend and don't have to work. I'm happy to join you and bring my master's degrees, my CPA, my CMA, and a whole bunch of experience with it.
Great, anytime. I'm ready to meet anytime.
So we'll definitely want the entire board to look at this at the next meeting in 2 weeks.
2 weeks gonna be enough.
If the finance committee, Bobby, if you and Sue confer and you decide you want to meet in advance, that's fine. But either way, either which way, we will meet, we'll discuss this and unpack it at the next meeting 2 weeks from today. Okay, any other discussion? All right, I had already announced the next scheduled meeting. And so at this time, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn the, April 9th, meeting of the Naperville Park Commissioners.
Second.
That was nice and smooth.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Stay well, everybody, stay healthy.
Thank you, everybody.
Be happy and stay safe.
I guess you need to get the big Spanish name for that. Business says Suze, says Suze, says Suze, says Suze, says